September 9th, 1999 is when my mom was killed. Every September, I always start feeling very uneasy. So it's always kind of been there in my mind, just a part of me, I think. What happened to our family was really a tragedy. And I was so young when the case had happened that a lot of the investigator team and whatnot hadn't ever really kept me in the loop. And so what I have always really struggled with was not knowing everything that went on that day. I had foggy memories and a jumble of what people had told me, but I felt like I was the reason she died, that I somehow contributed. The film director, I gave her my number and I said, if he wants to talk to me, he can call me. And he did. And we talked for a couple of hours. It was a long conversation. It was really, really amazing. It was really good. I am nervous to see Vern again. I have no idea what's gonna happen in that moment.
Diane and I started out as friends in high school. We met at the very beginning of our sophomore year, and we quickly just had a connection and became very good friends. I ended up in the foster care system. Diane and the Rays opened their home to me and asked if I wanted to be adopted. And I did. And from that day on, we've been sisters. They are my parents as much as my blood relatives are. Jade was my sister's last child. She became pregnant after her divorce. The father really was not in the picture. Jade made a really large impact on Diane in her life. As worried as she was about providing for her, Jade made her feel complete again. I can't even put into words how much I miss her and how I feel cheated. There were times that I did feel guilty. The guilt comes from not being able to save her. She was taken so quickly.
On September 9th of 1999, the police and EMS were summoned over to Diane Ray's apartment. There was no signs of forced entry. There was no obvious signs that any real struggle had taken place. Diane was found in her bedroom on the floor next to her bed. There was a meth syringe found by Diane's body. They'd found needle marks on Diane's arm, and it was consistent with methamphetamine use. During that time in Twin Falls, meth had really sprung up and had become huge in our area. They were cooking meth all over. It wasn't hard to go out and get it. This case looked like a drug overdose.
Were you at home today? With your mom?
Yes, and her is dead.
Really, I'm sorry.
Yes, but the big boy did it.
The big boy did it? What big boy?
What's his name is?
Was there one boy?
3 boys.
3 boys?
Mm-hmm. They're all on the floor. And my mom told them to get out.
Were them grown-ups or kids or what?
Growing up.
Grown-ups?
Yes. They'll kill my mom.
It's really hard to watch. How she says that people came in and killed her mom. It's just heartbreaking. It really is. It leaves a hole in you. This case was difficult from the beginning because when kids speak, you just have to be able to decipher if what they're talking about is in reality or if it's make-believe. We didn't have all the telltale signs of a normal homicide. We didn't have forced entry. We didn't have what appeared to be any sort of fighting that went on in the house. There was no indication other than the drugs that were in her purse and her having needle marks on her arms, that anything other than she ingested methamphetamine and it killed her.
Diane was very pretty, very vivacious, and she just had that personality that was just almost like a magnet to people. When it was Diane and Jade, she was still looking for that relationship. She really wanted somebody that she could love, that would be happy when she got home and also be a father figure in their life. She had met somebody through her work that she really wanted to get to know. The person she met at work was Vern. She said, he is wonderful. He treats me wonderful. He wants to be a father figure to my kids and help me raise them. And I knew that was what was most important to her. But there was a time where I did put partial blame on Vern Jensen for Diane's death.
Before my mom moved in with Vern, our life was very all over the place. But with Vern, it felt like everything kind of fell into rhythm and that I could always expect to wake up there. It was just warm and comfortable and I think how a childhood should be. I really saw Vern as a father figure. I felt very safe around him. I hadn't witnessed my mom that happy, I don't think, at all before. The memories that I have are they're like videos that play in my mind, but they're very faded, almost like an old projector film. On the day my mother died, I remember either a doorbell or a knock at the door. And she answered the door. And I don't remember much about that interaction at the door, but I remember the 3 strangers kind of pushing and forcing my mother to the bedroom.
Away from me!
I remember a gun. There was yelling, and I think she was crying, maybe.
Get away from me!
And I remember just that feeling of anxiety and scared and a lot of confusion on my end. And then one of them came and talked with me. They asked what I liked to do or if I had toys that I liked to play with. And I remember becoming very excited, thinking that they were there to play with me. I showed her my toys. And then I remember hearing my mom calling for me. they brought me to the doorway, and I remember her on the bed. And I remember her just repeating, "I love you so much. You need to know that. You need to tell them that I love them," talking about my siblings and saying, she said each of their names, and she said, "I love them." But the one thing I know that she was sure of is that she was dying, and knowing that death was so imminent and being able to compose to get her message to me, it's just a strength that I don't think many people would have. I thought, she was sleeping. She wouldn't wake up, and I tried to roll her over. I thought I'd done something wrong. And then the phone rang, and that was Vern calling. And I remember telling him that she won't wake up. And I remember him sounding panicked at one point and saying he would be there. I don't remember seeing Vern ever again after that. I remember feeling like he was going to be my father, and then he was just gone, and I felt abandoned. Why did I see Vern again? I had a lot of resentment towards him and anger. I remember asking about him, and my grandmother saying, "Well, he's not around anymore, and you're not going to see him anymore." And I had a lot of questions for Vern. When I got in contact with Evil Lives Here, they had brought up the idea of, what if you could get those questions that you have for Vern answered? I felt like if I didn't do it, then I would never get the answers.
It was just disbelief. It was no way. I'm like, how does a 34-year-old die? And I remember thinking that I needed to get to her and to get there as quick as I could. Excuse me. You would think after 22 years that talking about it would be easier, but it really isn't. That hole is still there, that emptiness is still there, and the hurt is still there. At that time, the police had said that she had died from a drug overdose, the drug being methamphetamines. And I remember thinking, no, that's not true. They knew my sister, and I would have known. My dad and I were able to go to her apartment and clean out her effects. I remember finding wadded up Kleenex and toilet paper around the bed where they found her. I picked one up, and I'm not sure why, but I smelled it, and it smelled like rubbing alcohol. When I smelled it, for a split second, I thought, oh my gosh, Diane, are you really shooting up? Are you using that to clean the area? There's that part of your brain that goes, okay, this is hard evidence. People can keep secrets. One of the detectives was still out there, and I said, can I ask you some questions? And he said I could, and I said, did you find track marks on her arms? And he said, I did. I found 2. She had a track mark in her left and her right arm. Right then, I knew something was wrong because Diane was right-handed. She couldn't even hardly hold a fork in her left hand. There's no way. And at that point, he looked at my dad and I and said, you people never want to believe that your children are capable of these kind of things. He said, but I'm telling you they are. She was, and she's dead. I said, there's something wrong here. I know in my heart that this isn't right.
Well, Jade, how did your mommy get dead?
Somebody came in the house and rolled over the floor.
They rolled over the floor.
And killed my mom. Actually stepped in the well and killed my mom.
I worked as hard as I could to explain what I had seen and that I had tried to give them as much as I could give them. Somebody came in, somebody did this to her. It should have been very obvious. Why was it ruled and just an overdose, and why was it looked at as not homicide for so long?
My mom told me that. The always will be in my heart.
Did your mom tell you something else?
No, her own talking. But then,
Did her tell you something before her got dead? What did she tell you?
her told me her will be in my heart.
Okay.
And her will be here someday.
I'm so sorry.
You said that you're going through a divorce now.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you getting divorced from?
Vicky Arlene Jensen. She hated Diane. Used to call Diane. Diane said Vicky's going to try one more thing to try and break us up.
Vern was convinced that Diane's death was not an accidental drug overdose. He was convinced that Vicky had something to do with it. On a typical drug overdose, you don't have people coming up saying that we suspect that that person was murdered. Vicky Jensen's initial response to having investigators talk to her was that, yeah, she had disagreements with Diane, but she wouldn't have killed her, and she was working that day, and there would be no possibility for her to have done it. Neighbors didn't see anybody matching that description. There wasn't any information that was given to us that we went, yeah, she's the one that did it. We had Jade's statement that there were people in the house that wrestled with Mommy. But at the time she gave it, it was hard to know what to do with it. There wasn't anything that we could put our hands on that we went, a murder has taken place and we can prove it. There was a meth syringe found by Diane's body, and it was in her purse. At the end of the day, after looking at all the evidence, it was just a tragic death, and methamphetamine was used, and it was more than likely an accidental overdose.
Our family decided to have a closed casket. Somebody brought Jade in, and I picked her up and was carrying her around, and she said, I want to go to the box. So we walked over to her casket, and she said, my mommy is in that box. And she said, my mommy's an angel. And I said, she absolutely is. And she asked me, if my mommy's an angel, how come she's in the box? How is she going to get out of that box? And the only thing I could think to tell her was that that's the special thing about angels, is that whether a box is closed or not, angels always go to heaven. And that's just the magic of being an angel. And she seemed to accept that okay. But it absolutely was heartbreaking. I overheard some family and friends talking about what we had found at the apartment. I said, I don't understand all the wadded up Kleenex and tissues. And I still had Jade on my hip. And she said, those were for Mommy. She said, the bad people came and Mommy had owies and I tried to fix Mommy. And she had been going to the bathroom and getting Kleenexes and toilet paper, trying to help Mommy's owies and make her wake up. It was just all the more information for me that said, no, this is not right. Something has happened here. I really was in a fragile state of mind. I couldn't sleep and I couldn't rest. This sleep deprivation and the feeling of having to find out the truth for Diane lasted for months. Into the end of February, I decided to call up Twin Falls Police Department. I wanted to know if they had closed her case or if it was still open. He said, we do have a person of interest that we would like to talk to about your sister's case. And I remember just getting teary and saying, thank God. Thank God they did not let this go. It was almost like a weight lifted. Not all of the weight, but at least some of it going, oh my gosh, so there's hope.
In February of 2000, I had been made aware that there was a tip that had come in, and I was interested in following up that tip to see if it led anywhere. A gal from out of state had called in and had reported that her friend, Autumn Pauls, had been involved in a murder. She's 14 when this happens. She's in junior high school. The tip was that Autumn had taken Jade, the 3-year-old child, into another room while the murder was taking place. Turns out that Autumn Pauls was the niece of Vicki Jensen. We went out and made contact with Autumn. Autumn was saying that no, she didn't have anything to do with it. But when I confronted her on what the witness had said, that Autumn had taken Jade into the bedroom, and Autumn immediately said,
I think my Aunt Vicky is guilty.
for the first time in this case, we actually had evidence that somebody had done something criminal. This is a death investigation that stinks to high heaven.
Tell me what happened.
We planned on going over there.
And doing what?
And I was gonna have nothing to do with it. But my Aunt Vicky was gonna kill Diane.
Okay.
My Aunt Vicky and Matt, they held her down, and I don't know what happened.
What was the plan?
We were supposed to go over there and get into the house and shoot her with something.
Did you ever see a needle or anything?
I didn't see it. I was in the other room.
Okay.
They were planning on giving Diane insulin that would kill her and then methamphetamine that would cover it up. In all the cases that I've worked, I've never worked a case where they staged an overdose. to cover up a murder. The moment that happened, we have a murder scene that now makes sense because we have 2 injections on Diane's arm. A murder scene that makes more sense when Jade says 3 people came in and wrestled with mommy.
When me and Vicky walk in and Diana starts screaming, and then Vicky rushes past Autumn and like grabs hold of Diane, and she goes into the other room, gets Diane down. I held her wrist where the needle was supposed to go in, and Vicky shoots it in.
Okay.
Then after she lays there for a while, this was a long time.
Did she quiet down after the shot was being
Yeah, she quieted down because she knew that she knew that there was no way around it, and her daughter was there. She laid there, and Vicky was like, "Why ain't this? It ain't working." We were there for over 45 minutes, and as much whatever the insulin that she gave her, Vicky figured that she'd die in like 10 minutes, and she just stood there, and we had to wait there, and finally she just started like breathing funny, and we waited there until she turned blue and her lips were blue.
How many shots did Vicky give her?
1 of the crank and 1 of the insulin.
But she gave him 2 shots. She gave her 2 shots.
Yeah.
Matt, out of all 3, was forthcoming. It didn't take much when we showed up at Matt's place.
Do you regret what you did? Yeah.
Every day, ever since it happened.
Do you understand that you took somebody's life?
Yeah.
Does that bother you?
Yeah, it bothers me a lot.
Autumn Pauls and Matt Pearson, they took steps to end Diane's life. It was all under the direction of Vicky, and without Vicky being an influence in their life, I believe that would have never happened. But it did. At least Matt had some remorse and was accurate and forthcoming with the information once he knew that the jig was up.
What was in this for you, Matt? Why did you do this?
Autumn kind of told me that we would get back together.
She told you if you did this, that there would be a chance of you guys getting back together. And
yeah. I was in love with Autumn, and I'd do anything for somebody I loved.
Matt did this heinous act for a 14-year-old girl that he wanted to be with. And he didn't think that was too high of a price. It speaks to Vicky's ability to manipulate people. She was able to have them trade everything for nothing.
I know that you had formulated a plan to kill her a while ago, and you told people about that. I know.
Yeah, but I didn't do it.
So what I need from you is for you to be honest with me.
I don't know a thing about it. I'm telling you the honest truth. I don't know the thing about it. I got up in the morning, got my son off for school.
Vicky,
at 7:30 in the morning.
Vicky, just a second. Okay, when I tell you that I know that you were there, I know that you were there. I've already talked with Autumn.
She knew that her time was up, and immediately she invoked her rights and wanted an attorney. And I told her I think that was probably a pretty good idea.
I find it all very difficult. It's unlike anything I've experienced watching this as an adult and seeing it with adult eyes. I was surprised she tried to deny it, as long as she did. And her composure didn't break. There was nothing. It really speaks to what she is as a person and how she lost that bit of humanity and that she is evil. It really helps kind of the picture become more clear and focused, where it was so foggy and stuff before. It's my story being unfolded.
Hello, Vern. My name is Jade Scotton, and I think you probably already know who I am. I look a lot like my mom. One of my biggest questions for you is, why did you just disappear out of my life? I don't understand why you just vanished. It would help me understand better if you could explain to me why you just left.
I'm sorry you feel like I abandoned you. That was never my intent, Jade. But I really felt like that if I stayed in your life, it would be more of a reminder of what had happened. Please forgive me. I'm sorry I failed you. Sorry I failed your mom. But more than that, I'm sorry that you feel like I didn't care enough for her to protect her, because I would have. Oh. Give me a break. It's a fair question. These are fair questions. She has the right to know. She's entitled to answers to these questions.
It's really powerful. I think you can see a lot of the regret and shame and guilt on his face, and it definitely hurt him, but he was still very brave to answer those questions, even though I knew they were hard questions. And I have a lot of respect for that.
She was just a little 3.5, almost 4-year-old girl last time I saw her. I wasn't there for her. I don't want to let her down again. I don't want to disappoint her.
I was down at a daycare helping out a friend, and I got a phone call from my husband. And he said, "You need to sit down." He said, "I just got a call from the detective, and they have arrested 3 people for the murder of your sister." I just remember breaking down at work and my friend hugging me and me telling her, and she said, "You were right. You knew all along." And I said, I thought I was crazy. I thought I was losing my mind.
As they left, Vicky wanted to go back and make sure that there wasn't any witnesses. She wanted to go back and kill Jade. She did the ultimate harm, and she wanted to do more harm. Matt told me that he said he would not go back. Matt and Autumn stopped her. The kids went, "No, we're not doing it." Vicki Jensen almost got away with murder. If you passed her in the grocery store, you wouldn't think anything of it. But evil does come in all forms. Vicki Jensen was facing life without possibility of parole, or the state was going to ask to execute her. But at the end, she pleaded guilty to first-degree murder without possibility of parole. Both Autumn and Matt were sentenced to jail for first-degree murder, and since they have been released.
I wanted all of them life without chance of parole or the death penalty. I truly believe that both Autumn and Matthew are fully capable of murdering again. There were plenty of opportunities for any of them to say, you know, she's really going to do this. I don't want to be part of it. It takes a specific kind of person to carry out something like this. After Diane passed, I did let family know that I would be happy to finish raising Jade on Diane's behalf. But Mom said, no, I'm going to keep her. All she had left was that grandchild, and I would have clung to her as well. Absolutely. I just feel so much for Jade. She went through so much that is just something a child should never have to go through. Oh my goodness. Such a cute little girl. Jade, she lost that little sparkle in her eye and the smile and the contentment. But she is finding her place in life now. She is growing into who she is. When she had her son, that spark started to come back. And being a mother and finally getting some answers and having a little more memory of the day that she lost her mom and being able to work through that spark is starting to come back. And not only is the spark coming back, but a level of confidence that I haven't seen in a long, long time. She's a strong girl.
There was a lot of fear in my journey of healing, and one thing that I want to make so clear is that healing is the hardest and the most painful thing, but it is a marathon, and eventually you get to a point where you feel like you can look back on that whole journey and say, wow, I have overcome so much.
God.
Hi. It's been a very long time.
You look so much like your mom, it's scary.
I've heard that a lot.
It's been so hard to kind of relive all this stuff because, Jade, I want you to know one thing. I love your mother very much. In 1999, after she passed, I had a gentleman on the day of your mom's funeral. He gave me a gift. And it was a very heartfelt gift. And I have carried it with me all the time. It's this cross. This cross has been around my neck, and with very few exceptions, it has not been off of my neck for 22 years. This is your mom. I remember every time I look at it. And I just want you to know more than anything that I have not forgotten your mom. Ever will I forget your mom. Yeah.
I realized that Since I had experienced it from a child's point of view, I hadn't really thought about it from an adult point of view. Now I understand everyone else's story and how it all played together in what had happened to me and to my mother. One thing that I did want to tell you is that you're forgiven. You have nothing to be sorry about anymore. It wasn't your fault, and you did nothing wrong by loving her.
Thank you. You know, that means a lot. It really does. Jade, my wife and I have talked about this, and we want you to be part of our family. We would like to legally adopt you as our daughter so that you have parents.
That is an incredible offer. For so long, I had wanted a family. I wanted a mom and a dad, and I spent a lot of my childhood just imagining that someday my mom and a dad would walk through the door, and I wanted that so badly. So such an amazing offer and opportunity for me. It's just, I know that our stories coming together means healing for us all. I feel like now I can look at it and say it wasn't my fault. I was just a child, and I was just witness to a horrible event. There's nothing I could have done to stop it, and there's nothing that I did to cause it. It's very powerful to take my story back. I don't feel guilty, and I'm not a scared little girl anymore. I'm powerful and strong and healed. Evil Lives Here has given me a timeline of events and really helped me understand what happened and remember a bit better. And it's brought me a lot closer with the memory of my mother, and it's been really amazing.
My wife handed me the phone and said, "Your dad's on the phone, something serious." And I'll never forget, he said, they found Molly dead outside of her car on a gravel road. She found somebody that she thought loved her unconditionally, but this guy was the ultimate con artist. If I could go back, I would have done everything in my power to keep her away from him.
He threw her out like a piece of garbage. Molly Watson believed she was getting married right up until the last day of her life. Melanie Addy believed she was living in a normal marriage with her husband, and these two lives were on a collision course. He was going to be forced to make a choice.
I looked at the investigator and said, "This is crazy. Are you sure you have the right person?" I questioned everything from the beginning to the end. It was the darkest time of my life, and it was hard. It was very hard. I think he enjoyed it. I really do. I think he loved the game. Knowing everything that went on, I feel disgusted about it. I just don't think anybody would see, like, their dad that they grew up with and had loved would do something like this. Do you think you'll ever forgive your dad for what he's done? I don't know how to answer that one.
There's birthday girl. Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Molly.
I miss her dearly. Molly's very special.
Make a wish. Molly. Make a wish. Well, the one's better. It is. You're lucky to find the big one first.
And she had no idea how special she was to all of us. What I loved the most about Molly was the fact that she was just a genuine person. She didn't try to fake anything. She was herself at all times. It didn't matter who she was around or what she was doing. She always stayed true to herself. Molly was excellent at school. Her grades were always great. Molly went to school for computers, and then she wanted to go back for teaching. And she got that degree, and then she was trying to get her PhD in psychology. But she was too trusting in people. She was very naive and just loving, and people would take advantage of it.
I am what was formerly known as Asperger's syndrome. So, if I seem awkward in the videos, now you know why.
Being her brother, I felt like I needed to protect her. Molly had got this job at a state prison as a corrections officer. I didn't think it was a good fit for Molly because physically she was very, very short. You know, I figured mentally she could probably handle the job because Molly was always a good listener and she could give good advice without being biased on anything. And she just genuinely liked helping people. But me and my family had no idea how somebody with Molly's stature could control, you know, some of these, and there's some violent inmates at this prison that, you know, it was always a worry of ours. Something could happen. But then again, I'm biased because I am her brother, always her protector. I found out from my mom and dad that Molly started dating a coworker from the prison. Molly would tell me things like they were very much in love. You know, he'd either gotten divorced or was in the process of getting a divorce. And that, you know, once his divorce was final, they were going to be happy together. They dated for a long time. For 7 years. In 2018, when she told me they were going to get married, Molly was over the moon with him. Like, she was very excited. Molly proposed to him. And she was excited about it. She wanted to finally have the love of her life, spend the rest of her life with one person. You can definitely tell she's happy. I'm used to seeing her just like this. I still can't believe she's gone.
It was very remote. It was not a commonly traveled road. It was a wooded area. There were no street lamps that would make anything visible at night. A local Monroe County resident was passing through the area and discovered a body. She was shot with a gun point blank, a single gunshot wound to the back of her head. Law enforcement used databases to run her plates on her car In addition, a search of the car revealed standard documentation that identified Molly Watson. A cast was taken of this tire impression at the crime scene and was submitted to the Highway Patrol lab. Law enforcement also observed something in the roadway. They stopped and they collected it. It turned out to be a white t-shirt. It was packaged as evidence in case it was relevant to this case because of its proximity to the crime scene. An initial search of Molly Watson's car revealed a marriage certificate in the passenger seat that did have the name Molly Watson on it and the name James Addy. They were supposed to be married in less than 48 hours. Once James Addy was identified as Molly Watson's fiance, they did go to his home to provide him with a death notification.
I woke up about 2 in the morning. I noticed police car lights in the driveway. And Jim actually met them at the door. They walked in, there was about 4 of them. And I was standing at the end of the hall and I said, "What's going on?" And everyone looked at me like they didn't know who I was or why I was there. One guy asked me, he said, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm his wife." I just remember them being very silent. I was just very confused. What is going on? What is happening here? I couldn't hear what was being said and kind of felt like I was being left out. So I moved closer. And that's when he looked at me and he said, "We're going to have you go to the living room." And he sat down and he said, "Well, we're just investigating. We found someone dead." And I thought, well, this is probably related to Jim's work. He was a corrections officer. Maybe it's someone that he knows or he worked with, and that's why they're here. That was my assumption. They asked me, "Do you know Molly Watson?" And I said, "No, I don't know who that is." And I was like, I still don't know what's going on. They didn't tell me what was happening until he was taken out of the house. They took him, put him in the truck, and then they told me who she was and how she was connected with my husband. They told me they were engaged and they were supposed to be married. And I looked at the investigator and said, "This is crazy. Are you sure you have the right person?" And he said, "Oh, yes, we have the right person." He told me that they were planning to get married and that she had been killed. And they asked where he was that night, and I didn't have a good answer because I had gone to bed. I don't know what time he got home. I remember I had a glass of water and my hand was shaking. I remember being cold. I remember being shocked. I felt very numb. This is not my life.
It was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and my wife came in and woke me up and handed me the phone and said, "Your dad's on the phone, something serious." And I'll never forget my dad. He said, "Timmy," he says, "the highway patrol just left the house." You could hear the sorrow in the voice. And he goes, "They found Molly dead outside of her car on a gravel road." I remember my blood pressure shot up and just kind of being lightheaded. My first thought was maybe she was stressed out from the wedding and she committed suicide. And then I knew in my head, I'm like, that's not something she would do. Then the suspicions come about, hey, you think James may have had something to do with this? Because, 9 times out of 10, it's the husband or boyfriend that they first go talk to. The first time I ever met him face to face, he could never look you in the eye. You ever just met somebody that just automatically gives you bad vibes? I thought he was a con. He would drain her bank account because he made her pay for everything, trips to Florida, Mexico. I couldn't tell Molly any of my concerns about him because it would make her very upset. The only way to describe Molly's love was she had blinders on the whole time. The divorce story didn't add up to me because I know on Missouri CaseNet you can look up court cases of divorce. And when you looked up his name, none of them showed up. I told Molly to look up his divorce. She would have seen that it wasn't on there. But I honestly don't think she wanted to see what was in front of her. I think deep down, she didn't want to believe he was married.
This is a picture of my dad and I when I was in elementary school at a daddy-daughter date night thing that the school was holding. Back then, we were just living our lives, and those happy memories are true and genuine. He was a really good dad to me. We were really close. It was about 7 p.m. and my dad said that he was going to go visit a friend, and then he left. Mom had gone to bed. I remember my dad getting home. He walked into the living room where I was, and he asked me, "Hey, what are you still doing up?" And I said, just turning in homework. And then he walked out. Nothing really seemed out of the ordinary about my dad. He just seemed normal to me. After I'd finished all my homework and stuff, I told him I'm going to bed. And he hugged me and kissed me on the forehead and said, "I love you." And that was the last time I saw my dad. I got out of bed and I noticed that my grandma and her husband were sitting there. Everybody was really quiet. And I remember Mom saying quietly, I don't think she wanted me to hear her say this, but I heard her say, "How am I going to tell her?" And then she walked up to me and said, "A woman has been murdered and Dad has been taken in for questioning." I didn't really know what to think, but I could see that on my mom's face something was very wrong. So I started crying. And she told me that everything's gonna be okay. I was still thinking, I don't know what's going on, but I guess I'll find out after prom. I didn't tell Emma about the affair. I just told her that someone has died and They were just doing an investigation. Emma asked, what's going to happen? And I said, I don't know. And I said, we just have to get your dress and get your shoes and make sure your hair's good. And so that's what we focused on that day. I was absolutely putting on a front. Yeah, I didn't know what was going to happen. We went to the high school and we took the pictures and saw Emma, and that was that night, yes.
I'm still struggling to understand how you did it.
Because it was Emma. And she deserved a good time. So this is our wedding, March 95. We look very happy, don't we? I mean, it wasn't a perfect marriage. We did not have a perfect marriage. I don't think most people do. But I thought that we both tried to make things work. I think, we learned to fight better as we got older. We learned to let things go as we got older. We did much more fighting at the beginning of our marriage than we did at the end. We mostly fought about money. He would use the credit cards, and I didn't know what the purchases were or what they were for. And he would give an explanation like, oh, I had to fix something on the cars or buy something for the house. And, I don't know car parts. I don't know, something very small could still be very expensive, and I wouldn't recognize that. So he could tell me something and, okay, all right, well, maybe that's right. I don't know. We all drove old cars, so maybe he was spending money on cars. I don't know. I just told myself, you know what? We have different spending habits. And, he wants more stuff than I do. I have different priorities. I wanted to save my money for traveling, and he wanted to buy stuff and things. And, you do learn to let things go. And I feel like he let things go for my sake. So we were really, I thought, very connected in that way, that we had been together for a long time and we were just working together to make it work. We were married 23 years. How did this happen? Why did this happen? He was home every night. If I missed something, I don't know what it was. We got along well. He was very charming and sweet and engaging. Jim had no tolerance for people that had affairs. He absolutely hated it. So I never would have thought him to have an affair. Never. I didn't believe it. I wanted to search the garage and the loft area because I knew that's where his things were, and I knew if there was any evidence that that's where it would be. I just kind of looked around the garage and saw a bunch of tools that didn't mean anything to me, so I walked upstairs to the loft. And I saw boxes with Molly Watson's name on them on the side. I opened the boxes. There were mostly just household stuff, kitchen stuff, just a lot of boxes of her things. From what I can piece together, she was planning to move into my house after they were married. Is really the only thing I can come up with. Then I found the locked chest. That's when I found the photo album of him at Disney World with Molly. He told me he was going to go to Florida for sniper training, specifically for his job. But he was not doing training in Florida. He was on a vacation with his girlfriend. I was very angry in that moment. I knew in an instant that everything was different. I knew it was not going back. There was no way. This was the end for him and for us. This is a marriage license issued for Molly Watson and James Addy. You do not have to prove that you're divorced to be issued a marriage license, but he did sign an under oath statement indicating that he was divorced and that he was eligible to be married. James Addy was living a double life, but Mr. Addy's position was that he was not the person that had killed Molly Watson. When law enforcement separated Mr. Addy from his wife, they interviewed him in his dining room. The alibi that James Addy had provided was that he was going to meet with a coworker. He left his home at 7 p.m. He got back home at 8:30 p.m. and that he had talked to Molly once he got back home. He did show investigators a 22-minute phone call between himself and Molly Watson. And that was the last phone call that she had with anyone. During that interview, at one point, he began sweating visibly. He stood up during the interview, opened an exterior window to the home, and placed a box fan in the window, blowing on him. Mr. Addy did tell law enforcement that he had gotten himself into something he should not have. In Mr. Addy's garage, they located a late model Mercury Sable. They were able to observe the tires on that car, and they appeared consistent with the tire impression that they had seen at the crime scene. The tires were seized off of his car and submitted to the lab. A judge determined there was sufficient evidence to issue an arrest warrant. The investigation continued beyond his arrest.
Molly, I can honestly 100% say she was fully in love with him. I mean, just, smitten with love for him. And when Molly falls in love, she falls hard. I would try to bring up something's not adding up with this guy, and she didn't want to hear it. She wanted me at first to be in the wedding party as like a groomsman, and I flat out told her no. She found somebody that she thought loved her unconditionally. If I could go back, I would have done everything in my power to keep her away from him. I think that's the biggest regret I have. It was a big struggle for me, but it just killed me.
I questioned everything. Everything about my marriage from the beginning to the end. What was true, what wasn't true. One time, Jim got a phone call from a friend, and he said, well, no, of course I can't go. I'm married. When he hung up, I said, well, what was that about? And he said, oh, he wants me to go on a trip to Mexico with him, with another guy. So I said, well, why can't you go? Just because you're married doesn't mean you can't go. So I encouraged him to go. These are people that he said he worked with. I never would have expected him to run off on a vacation with his girlfriend. The following year, we planned a very similar trip, him and I, to Mexico. We stayed in the same area. He said, oh, we have to do this. I did this last time. It's just confusing and weird to me that he would take us both on the same trip. People have asked me, how did you not know? How could you not know for 7 years? And my answer is always the same. I wasn't supposed to know. He made it work for him, and I just wasn't supposed to know. I think he enjoyed it. I really do. I think he loved the game. I think he loved having 2 women. Absolutely. And I think it was just seeing what he could get away with.
After prom, I was still kind of thinking about what was going on because I still was in the dark about everything. And my friend said, I'm going to show you something and I don't think you're going to be very happy about it. And then she showed me the article that someone had shared on Facebook that she saw. And she showed me, and that's how I found out what had happened. That my dad was having an affair and he killed the woman he was having an affair with. She gave me a hug and told me everything's going to be okay. It was devastating to know that everything that had happened and that my world was completely flipped upside down. And I got in my car and I drove home. And I remember I walked into my house and I saw a photo album on the table. And on the front of the photo album had a picture. I was really shocked to see that photo. I just couldn't believe it. I said, I know who this is. I've met her before. My friend and I were going to this Comic-Con thing, and I told my dad that I needed a costume made. And he said that he knew somebody who did that kind of thing. We drove out to her house. My dad introduced me to Molly Watson that day. There was nothing odd about it. She was really sweet. On the way back home, my dad told me, she seems to really like you. And I replied back, yeah, she's a really nice person. I really like her too. Having me meet his mistress did make me pretty angry. Knowing everything that went on, I feel disgusted about it.
Molly Watson was shot with the gun pressed to the back of her scalp. The bullet that was recovered during Molly Watson's autopsy was mangled and damaged, and so it was not able to be used to identify the murder weapon. It was determined that that t-shirt had gunshot residue on it. They circled areas where they tested positive for the presence of blood. And then there are some markings indicating where that DNA was consistent with Molly Watson's DNA. James Addy indicated he left his home at 7 p.m. that night to go meet with a coworker. However, the coworker indicated that he had not had any plans to meet with James Addy and that he and James Addy were not even close enough to have each other's cellular telephone numbers. And his daughter, Emma, said that she was up doing homework and that James Addy did not get home until 10 p.m. At that point in time, Law enforcement was unable to account for James Addy's whereabouts between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m.
I had to identify this t-shirt to an investigator that came to the house. This is the t-shirt that I had made in my graphic design class, and there's no other shirt like it in the world. I made about 3 or 4 t-shirts, and I brought them home, and I gave them to my dad, and he was just going to use them as rags in the garage. And then it turns out one of those t-shirts had Molly's blood on it. I just don't think anybody would see, like, their dad that they grew up with and had loved would do something like this. The logical side of me knows that he's guilty, but the emotional side of me wants to believe that he's not.
James lied to Molly, he lied to Melanie, he lied to his kids. His whole life was a lie. 2 days before the wedding, Molly came to me and she was talking about the wedding. She said, you know, I don't know if it's going to be put off a little bit or not. And she said, well, his wife was in a car wreck. She's on life support. And they're going back and forth on pulling the plug on her. And then a couple of days later, she got a hold of me and said, you know, hey, they pulled the plug on her, you know, she passed away. This is the text between Molly and James the day of her murder. James, the funeral is tomorrow. I love you. Molly, I'm sorry, sweetness. I love you so, so much. James, my nerves are shot. I'm getting ready to head to the airport to pick people up for the funeral. The funeral they're discussing in this is Melanie's funeral. It turns out she's very much alive. This guy was the ultimate con artist, that's for sure. Since he wasn't smart to keep the con going. I think she definitely started to put 2 and 2 together. I think if Molly had found out the truth about James, I think she would have ended the relationship knowing he was married. That may have been what she had confronted Mom that night.
You can only lie your way out of so many situations. And this was just as big a lie as could be. I'm obviously not dead. I think I deserve some answers. What are you thinking? What were you thinking? I don't know if I was just the enemy and he thought he deserved someone else, or she flattered his ego. Was I so bad that I deserved this? I think I just went in angry. And I'm not sure he could have said anything to make me less angry at that moment. But I wanted to know everything. It was very hard. It was very hard to know what to do and how to feel. Because I felt bad for him. I felt very bad for him. But if he was willing to do away with her to fix the problem, then would he have done that to me? Why did he think this would work? He didn't have any clear answers. I just asked him, why would he do this to us? He admitted he'd had an affair, and he was sorry. He apologized, and he said, I didn't know we had such a perfect life. He said he did not kill her. I didn't really expect him to tell me the truth. I think at that point I had already known that he was guilty. I said, well, I think they're going to get you for this.
The lab analysis indicated that the right rear tire of James Addy's car had left the impression that was cast. That placed James Addy's car at the crime scene. As well, there were 2 witnesses who had been held in the Monroe County Jail at the time that Mr. Addy was placed in jail. Mr. Addy indicated to them that he had put someone face down in a ditch. There was a mountain of evidence tying this crime to James Addy. He was the one with motive, means, and opportunity. James Addy was living this double life with Melanie and Molly. Molly Watson believed she was getting married right up until the last day of her life. Melanie Addy believed she was living in a normal marriage with her husband, and these 2 lives were on a collision course. He was going to be forced to make a choice. He didn't choose Molly Watson. He threw her out like a piece of garbage, which was consistent with how Molly Watson's body was found abandoned and just left on a dirty, dusty road in Monroe County, Missouri.
Testifying against my dad was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my entire life. I knew that if I looked at him while I was on the stand, I was gonna cry. So after I got off the stand, I looked at him. He was crying. My dad and I were so close. And I had never thought that he would do something like that to risk leaving his family. He already had a family at home, so I don't know why he would need anything else. I thought Dad had loved all of us. I thought he loved the life he had. But I don't know why he would risk it all. I never confronted him with that. I never spoke to him again after he was arrested.
Do you think you'll ever forgive your dad for what he's done?
I don't know how to answer that one.
After Jim was gone, I had to get the divorce. It was the darkest time of my life, and it was hard. It was very hard. There are no winners here. Everything around it is just so sad. We're just not those same people anymore. Kind of made me redefine who I am and who I want to be. I'm not this man's wife anymore. And I think that was an identity for me. And that was a big thing, to redefine myself as a single woman, because I never thought I would be. I think I've come a long way.
When Molly died, it set my mom over the edge mentally. And she was actually diagnosed with severe psychological trauma from Molly's murder. And my dad, he ended up passing away of a heart attack. And then my mom totally lost the will to live. Her last couple of weeks, she didn't eat, she didn't drink. I can't describe watching somebody that you love so much just, dying in front of you. It was an awful feeling. I think both of my parents would be alive today if Molly wasn't murdered. I feel like James Addy took my entire family away from me. I squarely blame him for it. James had 10 different ways to end a relationship. He chose to murder her.
Hi everybody, it's Molly. Today I am just kind of doing a general vlog. I figured I would just kind of give a little bit of background on me so you kind of get to know me.
I love this video of Molly. Anybody that sees it, that is my sister. That is her 100%. I've actually gone to bed before with it playing on the TV just so I can hear her voice. And it's a big comfort to me.
I have 2 degrees in psychology, a bachelor's and a master's. I'm working on a second master's in counseling. And I am very much a huge geek.
It gives me what I miss about her most. These videos are more precious than a lot of stuff. But this video in particular is just Molly.
So I'll catch you guys later, and